Best Actress. My favorite category at the Academy Awards always, and it's especially a favorite when the outcome is unpredictable, not a foregone conclusion. In the last 20 years, we knew that Charlize Theron would win for Monster, that Natalie Portman would win for Black Swan, that Cate Blanchett would win for Blue Jasmine. I love those 3 wins, don't get me wrong, but no chance at a surprise basically makes you spend the whole ceremony just waiting for the inevitable. It's so much more fun when Olivia Colman pulls out a shocker victory for The Favorite, or when Frances McDormand stuns many viewers at home, including myself, by winning her 3rd Best Actress prize. Another Best Actress race I adore is the one from 2008, when Julie Christie for Away From Her was neck and neck the entire award season with Marion Cotillard for Vie En Rose. This outcome wasn't going to be the shocker that was the Best Supporting Actress category that night. My last video all about Tilda Swinton taking the gold trophy after only winning the BAFTA award. Most people, I would say, were predicting in Best Actress either Christie or Cotillard. The question was, who was the winner going to be? A very good case, alas, could have been made for either one being victorious on Oscar night, the beloved veteran Julie Christie winning a Golden Globe and a SAG award, the dazzling newcomer Marion Cotillard winning a Golden Globe and a BAFTA award. But there were certainly also cases you could make against both of them too. Away From Her was a very small movie that only received 2 Oscar nominations, the other for Sarah Polley's adapted screenplay, and Christie had already won an Academy Award for Best Actress. Vie En Rose only got 3 Oscar nominations, the other 2 for makeup and costume design. Cotillard didn't win at SAG, and not a lot of people really knew who she was. It honestly could have gone either way. I bet it was close, but of course, it was Marion Cotillard's name that Forest Whitaker, the previous year's winner for Best Actor, read from the stage. Why did Cotillard win? And did anyone else in the category besides Christie, like Elliot Page for example, have a shot at the gold trophy? In this video, I'm going to talk about the incredible Best Actress race at the 80th Academy Awards and discuss how Marion Cotillard beat out Julie Christie. Let's start with the nominees. 2 actors in this category had practically 0 shot at a win. The first, oddly enough, was Cate Blanchett. I say oddly because she had a really good shot that night at winning an Oscar, but in a different category, Best Supporting Actress, for her performance in I'm Not There. That was the category she could have been victorious in, having won the Golden Globe and Film Independent Spirit Award for her fantastic performance in Todd Haynes' acclaimed drama. But I'm pretty sure even Blanchett herself didn't think she could win Best Actress, given that hilarious reaction on her face after they play a clip from the movie she was nominated for, Elizabeth the Golden Age, about a mature Queen Elizabeth enduring multiple crises late in her reign.
Yes, we should try a dance with Sir Walter. He's eager to show us his skill.
This movie was already a part of the Oscar conversation before cameras were even rolling, Blanchett reuniting with the director of 1998's Oscar-winning Elizabeth for this nearly decade-later sequel. The original film earned Blanchett the Golden Globe Award, Critics' Choice Award, and BAFTA Award. She lost the Oscar to Gwyneth Paltrow for Shakespeare in Love, but it made sense that Blanchett returning to this rich and commanding role 9 years later could possibly result in an Oscar victory. Blanchett had taken home an Academy Award by now in the Best Supporting Actress category for The Aviator for playing Katharine Hepburn, but in 2008, she still hadn't won in Lead Actress yet. She certainly did very well in this category throughout the season, showing up in Best Actress for Elizabeth the Golden Age at all 5 of the big ceremonies, Golden Globes, Critics' Choice, SAG, BAFTA, and Oscars. What stopped her momentum in the category was the lack of love for the movie itself. Critics not as enraptured by this follow-up as they were with the 1998 original, the film currently at just a 35% on Rotten Tomatoes, Michael Phillips of the Chicago Tribune saying it's a silly film about silly matters, Roger Ebert saying we lose sight of the humans behind the dazzle of the production. There of course was a lot of dazzle, the beautiful costumes winning an Oscar at the 2008 ceremony, but on this night, Blanchett was going to have to stay in her seat and be oh so excited at the announcement of the Best Actress winner.
Marion Cotillard, Vie En Rose.
She's one of the world's great actresses. I mean, from the first few frames of Vie En Rose, I just thought I've never seen anything like this, and then I think she's a genius.
The other person I don't think had a chance at Best Actress is actually one of my favorite Oscar nominations that year because it kind of came out of nowhere and was so totally deserved. Laura Linney for her lovely, nuanced work in The Savages, written and directed by Tamara Jenkins. In the film, she plays Wendy, and the late great Philip Seymour Hoffman plays her brother John, the two siblings facing the realities and the responsibilities of having to care for their ailing father.
He's not that kind of doctor, Dad.
I said my boy was a doctor.
Doctor of philosophy. He teaches theater.
I'm a huge fan of Laura Linney, and one of my favorite films of 2007 is The Savages, a wonderfully observant, often very funny dark comedy that is truly magical in its pairing of two powerhouse actors, Linney and Hoffman. Linney's nomination came as such a shock because she was passed over at every other major ceremony, including Golden Globes, SAG, and BAFTA. Philip Seymour Hoffman got some awards attention for his performance, nominated at the Globes, and winning the Film Independent Spirit Award for Best Male Lead. Tamara Jenkins also won Best Screenplay there and was nominated for Best Director, but Linney wasn't even recognized for Best Actress at the Film Independent Spirit Awards. Thus, I let out an audible gasp when her name was read off as one of the 5 Oscar nominees for Best Actress. She is dazzling in this movie, so funny and sad and true throughout the narrative. I guess you could argue she might have had a shot at taking the gold trophy, given that this was her 3rd nomination without ever having a win after a Best Actress nod in 2001 for You Can Count on Me and a Best Supporting Actress nod in 2005 for Kinsey. But The Savages only showed up in 2 categories at the Oscars, the other one being Best Original Screenplay for Jenkins, so the enthusiasm wasn't great for the movie overall, and Linney not showing up at other award shows that season meant that this time around, the nomination itself was the win for Linney. Just getting into the Best Actress category at the Oscars, a mini miracle. I still have hope that Laura Linney will win an Academy Award one day. It's too bad that her nomination for The Savages is still, to date, the last one she's received. I would say the spoiler in the Best Actress category that year was absolutely Elliot Page for his iconic performance as a pregnant teenager in the acclaimed comedy Juno, written by Diablo Cody and directed by Jason Reitman.
I still have your virginity.
God, would you shut up?
What, are you ashamed that we did it?
No.
Because at least you don't have to have the evidence under your sweater.
During the 2008 award season, when I saw Julie Christie winning some major prizes and Marion Cotillard winning some other major prizes, I thought Page might be able to slip in and take the Oscar trophy in a surprise victory, Christie and Cotillard potentially splitting lots of votes. I also thought Page might be able to win since Juno overperformed on Oscar nominations morning, not only getting into Best Picture, a major feat for a comedy, especially back in the day when there were only 5 slots in this category, but also getting into Best Director for Jason Reitman, which showed enormous enthusiasm for the movie, Page's lead performance, the heart and soul of the narrative. What I think ultimately hurt Page in the long run, other than Christie and Cotillard being formidable competition, and Page not really winning anything at the precursor ceremonies, was that if Academy voters really adored Juno, there was another category to reward it in, Best Original Screenplay, which did indeed go to Diablo Cody that night, who gave a memorable, heartwarming speech. Alas, Page would be passed over for this trophy, but here's hoping he gives another great film performance down the line that can get him into Best Actor. So that takes us to the final 2, the people most likely to win the Best Actress prize in 2008, Julie Christie and Marion Cotillard. Let's start with Christie, the sentimental favorite who gave an emotionally rich and devastating performance in Away From Her, written and directed by Sarah Polley. The film tells of a husband coping with the institutionalization of his wife Fiona, who has Alzheimer's disease, and who falls in love with another man.
We'll see you again tomorrow, I suppose.
What Christie does here is so much more than give a portrayal of a wretched disease. She shows the inner workings of this woman's life, her hopes and fears and dreams. It's an astonishing piece of film acting that was absolutely worthy of an Academy Award. Beginning her film career in 1962, Christie became a major star almost immediately with roles in Billy Liar, Dr. Zhivago, and Darling, the latter film earning Christie her first Oscar for Best Actress in 1966. She went on in the 1970s to make some truly exceptional films like McCabe and Mrs. Miller and Don't Look Now. The early part of Christie's career is fascinating, and I implore you to check out Be Kind Rewind's recent video called Julie Andrews and Julie Christie, which is amazing and goes into this part of Christie's life in great detail. When it came to the Academy Awards, after Darling, Christie was nominated for Best Actress in 1972 for McCabe and Mrs. Miller, the year Jane Fonda won for Clute, and in 1998 for Afterglow, the year Helen Hunt won for As Good as It Gets. Her best shot to win a second Oscar by far was in 2008 for Away From Her, The Momentum Beginning, when Christie won the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Motion Picture Drama, along with the Critics' Choice Award for Best Actress. She was awarded lots of critics' prizes too, and then, what seemed to seal the deal for a probable Oscar victory was Christie winning the Screen Actors Guild Award for Female Actor in a Leading Role over Cotillard, for which her speech was a great one.
It's lovely to receive an award from your own union, especially at a time when we're being so forcefully reminded how important unions are.
So that was that. Any person who takes the initial trifecta of a Golden Globe Award, Critics' Choice Award, and SAG Award almost always goes on to win the Oscar too, and this seemed to be Christie's moment. It had been a long 42 years since her previous Oscar win for Darling, and this seemed to be the best chance to reward this gifted and worthy actress a second Academy Award. She was nominated at BAFTA, and then, as expected, she was nominated for the Oscar. She was going to win, right? Well, not if Marion Cotillard had something to say about it, the actress enjoying a massive breakthrough onto the cinema scene for her astonishing landmark performance as Edith Piaf in the absorbing drama biopic Vie En Rose, about Piaf's rise to fame amongst enormous tragedy. This wasn't Cotillard's first movie by any means. She had appeared beforehand in Big Fish and A Very Long Engagement, but Vie En Rose showed the world finally everything she was capable of, a film performance I think is one of the 10 best since the turn of the century. She is magnetic in every scene, so raw and real, her interpretation of Edith Piaf a showstopper in every way. I figured at the time that if enough people saw the movie, she could win the Best Actress Oscar, and her victory at the Golden Globes for Best Actress in a Motion Picture Comedy or Musical showed that people were noticing her incredible performance, but then she lost the Critics' Choice, and she lost at SAG. Cotillard was being nominated for everything, but one could argue she didn't have the narrative Julie Christie had going into Oscar night. Not enough people really knew who Cotillard was, whereas Christie was a beloved screen icon who'd been acting in movies since the 1960s. Cotillard won the BAFTA award, but that seemed likely the whole season. It appeared on Oscar night that she would get close, sure, but Christie would ultimately take the gold trophy, and then Forrest Whitaker opened the envelope and said this.
Marion Cotillard, Vie En Rose.
Marion Cotillard actually did it. She won the Oscar. She pulled off a victory I would argue was a surprise, given her loss at Critics' Choice, and especially at SAG. So how did she do it? How did Cotillard beat Christie for Best Actress in 2008? Here are the top 5 reasons. The first reason is that Academy members love their biopics, and something Cotillard had over Christie that year was playing the real-life Edith Piaf, whereas Christie played a fictionalized character. Piaf is a role that demands so much of its performer, and it's just an intensely bigger performance overall than the quieter, more understated performance Christie gives in Away From Her.
Is there an actor or actress not around this table that you would really love to work with?
Marion Cotillard, I've always wanted. But I also feel like I don't want to be on the same screen as her. Everything just feels so real. And there's nothing, she's not doing anything. She's not acting.
The second reason is that Cotillard transforms physically as well in Vie En Rose, going through lots of different looks throughout the movie. We see different ages, different hairstyles, and she's always believable no matter what stage of life we see her in. Christie has a transformation too, but it's more about emotion. more subtle and internal. Of the two roles, Edith Piaf was simply the one more likely to be awarded, especially come Oscar time. The third reason is that the Academy liked Vie En Rose a little more than they did away from her. If Sarah Polley's film had made it into Best Picture, or maybe another acting category, Christie probably would have won, but it only showed up on Oscar nominations morning in Best Actress and Best Adapted Screenplay. That wasn't a great showing by any means, and it left Christie a little vulnerable. Vie En Rose didn't do much better, getting into 3 categories instead of 2, including costume design, but then the movie won Best Makeup at the Oscars, which gave an early sign during the ceremony that Cotillard could take Best Actress.
When you won the Oscar, Marion, for Edith Piaf in Vie En Rose, which is an amazing performance, but I've heard you in interviews talking about, which seems unlike, but that was a character you couldn't shake.
Yeah, that was the first time I had trouble getting rid of her, which I was very ashamed of, I have to say, because I thought, it's a job, I'm an actress, I shouldn't be affected by any of my roles. But the thing, when you do a movie, you spend a lot of time with this person you fell in love with, in a way. And then the last cut is, I mean, you'll never share, your life with this person anymore.
The fourth reason is that although Cotillard didn't win at SAG, she was victorious at the Golden Globes, and more importantly, at BAFTA, which showed in those final weeks before the Oscars that Cotillard's momentum was growing. SAG voters sometimes go for the more established actor that everyone knows, like Christie was, while BAFTA and the Oscars can oftentimes go for the person that's not as well known if they really, truly believe the performance is worthy. Which takes me to the fifth and final reason Cotillard won. Her performance in Vie En Rose is, in a word, phenomenal. It's a once-in-a-lifetime role that Cotillard nails in scene after scene, her physical and emotional transformation a wonder to behold. For anyone who saw the movie, Cotillard's turn as Edith Piaf stayed with you for a long time, and as I said before, I think it's one of the very best film performances of the last 2 decades. Academy members just had to recognize that, and thus Marion Cotillard did indeed take the gold trophy, and nobody looked more excited about her win than Cate Blanchett. Julie Christie's delayed reaction always makes me laugh, and I love Cotillard's long walk to the stage where she appears to be shocked beyond belief and totally overwhelmed with emotion. Her speech that followed, I completely adore.
Well, I thank you, life, thank you, love, and it is true there is some angels in this city. Thank you so much.
What a great category Best Actress was that season, and what treasures the 80th Academy Awards gave us, including Tilda Swinton's surprise win for Michael Clayton that I talked about in my previous video. A lot of things have to go right, I think, for me to make 2 videos about a single ceremony, and you know what? Things went right the following year too at the 81st Academy Awards, because in the weeks to come, I'm making 2 more videos. First, about the Best Actor race between Sean Penn and Mickey Rourke, and second, one of my favorite Oscar competitions ever, the Best Actress race between Meryl Streep and Kate Winslet. Get frickin' ready. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know in the comments below who you wanted to win Best Actress at the 2008 Academy Awards. Was Marion Cotillard the right choice, or do you think Julie Christie should have taken it? See you next time!